Hello, glorious souls. Welcome to your Soul Service Astrology update for the 13th of March, 2023. Hi, I am Kelx. The astrology that you will hear on this glorious channel is all 13 sign sidereal astrology. That means where the planets are will match how you can observe them in the sky. Yes, it's astronomy and astrology coming back together as they were always together. Our ancient ancestors, historically, we were looking to the sky and observing and bringing that information to Earth, either as describing our environment, what may have been going on in our environment, how we may have been needing to adapt to what was going on in the environment based on what was in the sky. So that's astronomy and astrology linked together. In our day and age, this is really important because we have become separated from our environment, and the sky is part of our environment. And by perpetuating a technique that is continually separating us from the sky and that we don't need to look at the sky is to our detriment. So 13 sign sidereal astrology is a modality that can bring you back into connection with the sky, which will allow you to come back into connection with the environment, which will allow you to end separation within yourself. It is a practice. It is a practice. We have to practice it to receive the benefits of it. Now, if you have been listening to my channel before, you will know that this is a practice, and what you are going to hear from me today in relation to the upcoming week, the 13th of March, is an opportunity for you to step into the energies that I'm going to describe. It's an opportunity for you to get out your astronomy app and look at the sky. You can see Venus in the evening sky, the western evening sky. You'll always be able to attempt to find the moon in the evening sky or the night sky. Of course, the sun is there. You'll never be able to see the stars behind the sun, unfortunately, because we shouldn't really be looking at the sun. Although this year there is a total solar eclipse happening in April. And don't worry, the astronomers and astrophysicists will be looking at the sun at that point in time so they can see information around the corona of the sun. Gosh, I've had that. I hope I said that. So the corona of the sun, which is the bright bits that come out. Comprises a big chunk of the sun, by the way. And I've lost my train of thought. Oh, what you can see, Venus, you can of course see Mars. Mars has like a little sort of red-orange glow in the night sky. Mars is in Taurus at the moment. Taurus is visible in the southern hemisphere, sort of it's moving towards the west now in the early evening sky. So it's not hanging around too long. And then, of course, there's Saturn and Jupiter, which you can also see. Jupiter's actually really easy to see because it's like one of the brightest things in our sky. So they're the visible planets that you can go out and look without needing anything. So what's going on this week? This week, there's a lot of energy in Pisces, and really that is the overwhelming energy. So what does that mean, Kel? What opportunity does that present me? The opportunity that presents you this week is to privilege your imagination. Your imagination is your portal into your intuition. Now, there's different types of intuition. I actually think this week it's a great week for me to explain to you, before I go into the celestial energies, the different types of intuition. So we have biological intuition. We have innate intuition. Typically, these intuitions are learnt. So once you do things repetitively, you'll start to have an innate knowing how to do something. You'll be able to read particular things. An example my mentor gave was, it's like a mechanic listening to a car, a very experienced mechanic listening to a car will understand what's going on. For me, in my science job, I'm a contaminated land scientist. I've been doing it for 24 years. I can now look at sites before we go out there and start to get an understanding, depending on how that site was used, as to where the issues and the problems might be on that site in relation to contamination. So that's an innate intuition. It's kind of learnt. With Pisces and Neptune in Pisces, I want us to start to feel into the non-local intuition. So this is intuition you couldn't possibly have learnt. Now, for us to receive this intuition, we need to regulate our nervous system, because our nervous system and our body receives this information. And for us to be able to interpret it, we need our body and our nervous system functioning at a really nice, I would say, stasis, happy place. I'm going to use a yogic term, sattvic place. Ayurvedic term means quite, balanced, in a nice equilibrium state. Often in our culture and society, particular Western culture and society, of course, we have privileged the analytical mind. We've privileged the logical mind. And this leads me into our first celestial aspect for next week. On the 14th of March, Mercury moves into Pisces. So the mind is logical, the mind is analytical. It's now going to move into a space where it's being asked to also use our subtle intelligences, and that is our non-local intuition. That is perhaps feeling something, a shift and a change in your body. Perhaps you hear something, a song starts going on repeat in your head and you haven't listened to the song for a very long time. Perhaps you walk into a room and get an instant feeling. Perhaps you meet someone and you see something straight away as soon as you meet them. I would encourage you this over the next couple of months. No, not next couple of months, next couple of weeks, as Mercury transits through Pisces, to start allowing yourself to privilege that, to become the mystic in the mundane, which is what we're all attempting to be in the age of Pisces, mystics in the mundane, swinging ourselves back to being both analytical and logical, and spiritual and mystical and intuitive, is joining them together. So start to privilege your intuition, start to honor it, start to go, that information was important for that meeting. That information that I received through my body, that information was important about that person. It's not wrong. And that's that instant trust in yourself, in your understanding of that information coming to you. That means you're privileging your intuition, and you're privileging the non-local intuition with your analytical intelligence, and of course, your biological and innate intuition. Then on the 15th of March, Neptune is conjunct the Sun. So this is where we get to allow our imagination and all those ideas filter into our creativity. So it's not necessarily take action. We are at the end of the celestial year. It's the last week of the celestial year. For me, in the environment that I'm in, I'm just about to go into a rot phase and I can feel it. I can feel like, okay, things have reached a crescendo. I have consolidated my soul service astrology planner. It's almost complete, this cycle. And I'm going to celebrate that. I'm going to elevate that. I'm going to have joy in that. But then what might be happening is other ideas might be filtering through into what it is that you want to create over the next 13 moons. So it's not necessarily a period of action, taking action on that, but it's a period of really imagining and feeling into those creative ideas. Like, what does it look like? What does it feel like? Why am I creating it? Not necessarily any of the how. It's really allowing your imagination to pour into that thing that you want to create next. And as I'm speaking this, of course, I'm going, oh, now I know what I'm going to do that for. And it's not necessarily going to be for the 2024 planner, although, I do have ideas there as well. So that is another way that you can use the energy this week. Your imagination pours into your ideas. And when I say any creative idea, I mean any creative idea. For me, I just had the aha moment. I'm like, that's got to pour into the renovation of our home. Our home requires a big chunk of maintenance, and we're finding it extremely difficult to find a builder. I can see the home completed, but perhaps a little bit more consolidated, focused energy around what it is that we're trying to create in our home will support it coming into reality over the next couple of years. It's certainly not something that will happen quickly. But like I said, it could be something for you that might be happening in the next month that you can filter that into. Okay, so then we get, on the 16th of March, we get a square. It's Pluto square Venus. Now, Venus is also in Pisces. Now, Pluto is this destructive energy. What we want to do is we want to destroy beliefs around physical reality as being the only real thing. And as you can hear with everything that I've spoken about, is that everything that you see now was once an idea. It just was once an idea and now it's reality. Even the economic situation, the systems that we find ourselves in was once an idea and now apparently people think it's fact, right? So we're destroying that myth that everything that's real, that's it. The physical is just it. And this is also destroying the belief that the only real things are something that comes from the analytical mind, where I'm asking you to privilege your innate, intuitive, non-local knowings, seeings, hearings, and feelings. So it's destroying the beliefs that that is not as important as our analytical and our logical intelligence. Then there's more. On the 17th of March, Neptune is conjunct Mercury in Pisces. And again, it is really privileging our intuition and merging it with our mind. Everything that I've spoken about already, it's that really, as you go about your day-to-day, so being the mystic in the mundane, as you go about your day-to-day, privilege those feelings, those knowings, what you hear. Don't let people doubt you. In other words, don't doubt yourself. You know, I'm not quite sure the words that I want to say in that moment, but it's more like, don't doubt yourself when you have a knowing. We've all had those gut feelings and we've all gone against our gut feelings. And in hindsight, we go, the gut was right, right? It's exactly the same with any of your other intuitive feelings, knowings, seeings, hearings. So that's this week. It's really big Pisces energy, but something else is going to shift this week as well. And I'm playing a little bit here with some information I'm going to share with you. So Venus moves into Aries, what would be known as the constellation of Aries at the end of the week on the 18th of March. However, another astrologer, she alerted me to the fact that perhaps the ecliptic doesn't really run that close to the stars in Aries. So I checked it out. I went on to Stellarium and a number of other astronomy apps, and I went onto the NASA website. So this is how I go and I attempt to continually improve my processes. And the ecliptic doesn't run that close to the stars in what would be defined as Aries. I was like, okay, so what does this space now represent between Pisces and Taurus? Because Pisces very much, the ecliptic moves through it. The ecliptic definitely moves through Taurus. And interestingly enough, in Babylonian times, the first zodiac was actually Taurus. That's where the equinox would have been perceived, would have been in, if you could perceive, oh, well, you can perceive the equinox. It would have been in Taurus back then because of the wobble of the Earth's axis. So, and the constellation of Taurus has Pleiades in it. It has some really bright stars in it that have been observed for thousands and thousands of years. So there is a little bit of academic theory that maybe an archaeological information that suggests that maybe Taurus was really the first sign of the zodiac rather than it being Aries. So let's think about this. There's a space on the ecliptic that's not actually really very close to any of the stars in either Aries, and the other constellation that's on the other side of the ecliptic is Cetus. Now, Cetus is the whale. So it's like, how do I resolve this conflict now when I've told you, look at the sky, see what's behind it. So this is our continual learning process. And I think that this is a bit of a void space. And I was like, what do I want to call this space? I think it's a bit of a void space. It's a gap between Pisces and Taurus. Now, Pisces is our connection to spirit, it's interconnection, it's ascension and elevation beyond the physical. What is Taurus? Taurus is very much, I am here on earth, I'm very much human. What are my needs? What resources do I have? What are my values? And what is it that I want to construct, build in this lifetime? So you can hear the differences. I am fully divine and I am fully human. And of course, there has to be a space in between, because how do you go from that into that? Now, typically, I would have linked Aries with this burning of our sacred flame. We have to burn aspects of ourself away to realize that we are both humanly divine and divinely human. So the Pisces and the Taurus. And it's in this void space that we get to connect with our sacred flame in our solar plexus, our confidence center, put stuff in the fire that no longer is part of you. It's no longer part of me. So I'm going to transmute it to energy. Like Einstein said, energy cannot be transformed, cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. That's what you're doing by putting particular things. Now, when I say particular things, it might be physical things. You might be decluttering to make more space in your life. It might be to-do list. I don't need to do that on my to-do list. It might be relationships. It might be jobs. It might be businesses. Because make no doubt, there is things that are changing. And if you want to be divine and the mystic in the mundane and bring it down to earth, there's particular things that can't come with you. And it's that shedding of those ego layers. So maybe there's aspects within you that you need to shed. And that's what happens in that void space. Aries. I'm playing with this. Please comment. Please feel if this resonates. So that's where Venus is moving at the end of the week. And Venus will become conjunct with the North Node in this space. So is it our mission to sit in that void space? Is it our mission to surrender aspects of ego, surrender aspects of the material plane, surrender aspects of perhaps relationships and connections that no longer serve us to be able to have this mystic in the mundane experience and still be fully human while being fully divine? So let me know if that resonates. It may not for you. I'm feeling into that, and I kind of feel like it fits. It makes more sense to me. So that's this week. It's the last week of the celestial new year. Allow yourself some time of nurturing, celebration, and elevation. And if you want to do all three of those things, you are invited to my free Celestial New Year's party. It's fully online. It's in the evening Australian daylight time, which I think will match with some times overseas. So don't be afraid. You will still be able to join me, because I think it's going to be during the day for you. Go to my website, soulserviceastrology.com. Check out the link, sign up, completely free. If you have a planner, bring it with you. If you don't have a planner, go buy one. You will not be let down by this planner. They are exquisite. I am beyond joyful with how they have turned out. Yes, I'll be doing it again for 2024. And your purchase directly contributes to me being able to do it again for 2024. All right, that's it from me. Have a glorious week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.